This is Max Shears for Pro Boxing Fans. I'd like to be joined today for the first time by Spencer Fearon. Spencer, as I said off camera, obviously, thank you for joining me today on a Sunday. I want to start off just a look at this weekend's boxing. I think let's start on Friday. Obviously, Zuffa Boxing, the inaugural show happened. I mean, no one really knows the plan for Zuffa, but we've seen Callum Walsh versus Campo start off. I mean, what do you make of the event and what do you make of where Zuffa Boxing maybe fits in the world of boxing?
We don't know where they're going to fit in right now. What we do know is that that show was a pretty average show. That's no right. It wasn't like, oh, we're going to come and bomb blast you with a massive show. It was like it's just trying to get into the market. So it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to do. I would have done it in reverse. I'd have done something really big to captivate the eyeballs, but maybe it's like the guys at Zuffa Boxing are looking at it like we're looking to do this thing long term and steady, ride the monkey kind of thing. So let's see. It's still good because it gives another outlet for boxers to be on. So that's not a bad thing. But let's see what happens.
Definitely. I mean, a lot of the talk has been kind of like that UFC model of maybe a smaller fighters building their way up through Zufa, kind of the way they did in the UFC. And then when you see Jai Opetaia sign, did that shock you? Like, did you expect a signing like that? So I think it was before the show was even made.
No, because if you know anything about Jai Opetaia, he just wants to fight, and it hasn't been easy for him, unfortunately. For someone who fights the way that he does, he hasn't really got the marketing pull behind him. I know his manager Mick very well, and I think this is a good thing for him because it will get him regular fights. And if he's getting regular fights, it's going to give him that exposure. And Zuffa Boxing are going to need a star. And I think that he could emerge into that star. He's got a very exciting style. He's very, very well balanced. And he's got good timing with his punches. So I think he could grow in being with Zufa. So let's see what happens for him. I mean, good guy, and also because he's still linked with Gold Star Promotions as well. So I mean that'd be good. I like the guys at Gold Star. I mean, they've got a lot of time for Spencer Brown. So hopefully something really good comes out of this.
Yeah, another one on Jai. I mean, at the start, it looked like Dana White was kind of saying he wants to stay away from your traditional governing bodies. But like I say, Jai wants to fight and he also wants to go undisputed in the cruiserweight maybe before moving up. So how do you
Mhm.
think that happens? Obviously, he wants to go undisputed, but Dana doesn't want to work with the governing bodies. Do you think Dana's almost going to have to almost backtrack on that plan and maybe when Jai does, if he goes undisputed, maybe then fight for a Zufa? Or how's that going to work?
Do you know what? I think right now the governing bodies are still here to stay. I don't think you're just gonna come in straight away and get rid of it. And also, it's like if we're dealing with authenticity, right? Um, being the Ring Magazine champion, right, is a big thing if you're a Ring Magazine champion because you're seen as the proper undisputed crown, even though you don't hold all of their alphabet boys. But if you got the Ring Magazine title, then it's something. So I no doubt because Zuffa Boxing's got something with Turkey Al Sheikh. Turkey Al Sheikh's got a lot to do with Ring Magazine. There's got to be a synergy there to say right because this Zuffa Boxing World title it doesn't even sound appealing. Just think about it.
No.
It doesn't, does it? You're like, oh, Zufa, it doesn't. It doesn't even sound appealing,
Hmm.
right? And you're dealing with an old head who's watched more boxing than most people. So I don't know how they're gonna strategize this, but maybe they're gonna have to change the name of it
Hmm.
because it doesn't sound appealing to me at all. But as long as you're giving the good fights and the best fights, and you're making the best guys fight the best guys, then who's gonna argue? It could be called Fessy boxing or whatever. We don't care. We just want to go watch. We want to see the great fights. So we got time to see what's going to happen. It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
Definitely. And just the last one on Zufa and Dana White. I saw a quote that Dana said, I don't want to get it wrong. He said, when building the UFC, I took everything that I loved about boxing and everything that I hated about boxing, and that's how I built the UFC. So if it works with the UFC, it should work with boxing. I mean, in that first show, I just saw, like I say, maybe a smaller boxing show. There wasn't many major changes. What do you think they're actually going to do in these drastic changes that he's talking about?
I'm going to tell you this now, yeah. What I did like about it, yeah, was the production team and the people and the hosts that they had on it. You know, Andre
Mm.
Ward on there, Antonio Tarver. You had some really good guys who I enjoy listening to when they speak boxing. You know, there was a Joe Tessitore as well.
Mhm.
Um,
There's very
right, yeah, right. So that's very clever because like aesthetically it didn't look no different to anything else. You know what I mean?
good.
It was just boxing. But if you look at when the UFC first started, it was garbage, right? And it took time for it to build, to build, to build, to build. And then now look where the UFC is, right? But the UFC is not actually built on stars, it's built on this franchise. And one thing that I have to say is, have you ever been to a UFC show, Max?
I haven't no.
Right, I've been to a UFC show. I was like, I've been to a couple now, and it was like a gentleman. Please forgive me because I've actually forgotten the guy's name. My mother just passed away, and then some guy on Instagram that said, "Oh, I've got two ringside seats for the UFC, which was in London, and I want you to come along to it." And it was like Paddy the Baddy was on it,
Okay.
and and I've never had so much fun. I'm gonna be real. Seriously, I looked at that and I looked at how it was put together and the merchandise and everything. And I'm saying boxing needs to catch up on this. It was fantastic. I was in there and people were frying their bear in the air and just landing on me. And I'm telling you, if I was at a boxing match and that happened to me, and I'm wearing a 2,000 pound suit, we're gonna fight, right? I didn't care,
Yeah.
right? So if they can match that synergy, and hopefully they can, if they can match that, then we're gonna look for a really, really good time because it was actually an event that was one of the best times that I've had
Mm.
being at a combat sport event. So if they can match that, because I'm saying, well, boxing needs to catch up because of how the UFC is put together, it's put together really, really well. And I'm saying, like, it does take time. It's going to take time, but let's see what they end up producing. I'm sitting down waiting as a fan of the sport and a historian of the sport. I'm sitting down waiting, and hopefully, Max, we can see something special.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, fingers crossed they can replicate that. And then in the early hours, obviously Andy Cruz, he took the step up in just his seventh fight. He didn't get the decision against Muratalla. I mean, just do you think maybe too much too soon in his career?
How was Andy Cruz now? 30 easy?
I think so, yeah. 30.
Right. Right. Unfortunately, this how it goes. You're gonna get certain guys, and don't get twisted. As an amateur boxer, he's a special talent, right? He's a very, very special talent. Um, but when you put guys in, we saw this happen with Lomachenko. They put him in early, he lost. You know what I mean? Um, but no disrespect to Andy Cruz. Andy Cruz is superb. But I always wonder about, and I'm not generalizing, but I am at the same time. When Cuban fighters, right, leave Cuba, right, and they end up in America, I always worry about those fighters. I always worry about those fighters simply because their lifestyle is going to be different. Simply because, like, it's just yeah. It's very rare that you see a Cuban fighter go to Cuba, leave Cuba, sorry, and go to America, and then it really works out for him. It's very, very rare. We don't see it a lot. We don't at all. So when we're looking at what's happened with Andy Cruz, don't get twisted. Raymond Muratalla boxed a superb fight, and it was actually a throwback fight. It was such a good fight. I'll get young kids to watch that fight. How they stayed on top of each other, how they were letting their hands go on the combinations, and the major thing was this: was like what Raymond was doing. Raymond was staying in the pocket, but it was giving slight little angles. So those slight little adjustments, but he's trying punches off of those slight little angles. Like he'll dip to the side, he come up through the middle with a right uppercut, come out with a left hook, and then he'd be back on his jab. And he had a very, very tight guard. It was a really, really good, entertaining fight. But I think Eddie Hearn and them rushed him a bit too early there. Just thinking like, yeah, because you haven't matured yet from that amateur style, and you was a brilliant amateur boxer where you'd hit and hop it. You haven't matured into the pro game, and also it's like we saw he's working with Ballsy Innes, right? Andy Cruz, and I've noticed like when there's a wave, And don't get twisted, 'cause I know Boz is a good trainer, but I don't like when we see a wave, we say, oh, well, you got to go with him because he's got one of the best fighters in the world right now, so you've got to go over there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think it takes a little while for you to build a relationship with a trainer as well. And then you're trying to build a relationship with a trainer, and then they throw you in a world title fight against a man in Muratalla who he's been flawed, he's been roughed up, he's been through some hard fights. So when you get a guy like that, they actually know what they're doing because they haven't had things their own way, even though they're unbeaten, but they haven't had the things in their own way in fights. And he's had those learning fights. And then there lies the difference. So I mean, it was a good fight. The right man correctly won. I don't want to hear anyone talk about no robbery. And I just think they just rushed it and they took a gamble that didn't work for them.
Yeah, I think you're right in terms of that maturing because even you see in them championship rounds where you see Muratalla just get them last two, maybe. I mean, I agree Muratalla the correct winner. I've seen a lot of kind of outcry at the 118, 110 scorecard. What do you make of that?
No, you know what? When you're hearing like these scores like 118, 110, which is wide,
Mm.
right? It's very no, it's very wide. So you're saying like out of those rounds, you only won 2 rounds, right? Right out of 12, you only won 2 rounds. That is when you look at it, but also I can understand why one judge went 118, 110. Because one man was fighting on the front foot for the whole fight. And one man was trying like these kind of ticky-tacky punches and not really stamping authority. So I can see why they gave it that way, right? It wasn't correct to give it, but I can see why somebody could see it that way because boxing is very subjective. So I can see why, but there's no way that Andy Cruz only won 2 rounds. That's ridiculous.
Definitely. I've just got two more. Tyson Fury. I'm going to keep it short. Why do you think Tyson Fury's returning? Why? What is the motivation for him?
The motivation for Tyson Fury is a fighter.
Mm.
Doesn't matter how much money you got in the bank. It doesn't matter. Anybody who has boxed, yeah, I want you to realize this. You're indoors and you'll see some guys on TV, right? And you look at them, I could beat him.
Yeah.
This is box, right? This what boxers do. Do you know what I mean? This what boxers do. So why would you think that Tyson Fury is any different? I
Mhm.
keep on telling people Tyson Fury most probably came out of his mother's womb with boxing gloves on. That's what he does. You know what I mean? And when I saw Tyson Fury hitting the heavy bag, he did look old. And then he's gone away to Thailand and he looks rejuvenated now. Have you seen it now? He looks
Yeah.
like young. I think, what's going on here? Are you on some secret? I don't know what you're on, but I'm trying to work it out. So Tyson Fury just loves the game, right? As much as he's saying, oh, I've had enough, and no, you don't. You know what I mean, boxing's in your DNA. You can't escape it. So that's the reason why he's fighting, and that's the reason why he's going to continue fighting. That is it.
Yeah, I agree. I think Fury even still could potentially, you'd say Usyk obviously the best heavyweight on the planet, but I still see Fury maybe as that second best. When you put him in, I know all these fights probably won't happen, but when you compare him to maybe a Dubois, a Wardley, an Usyk, a Cabell, where do you think he still is at that very pinnacle of the sport?
Yeah, because all those names that you just called, I believe that Tyson Fury could beat.
Yeah.
So that's the truth. All those names that a Tyson, but it has to be in tune though. Like a Tyson Fury in tune, I believe that Tyson Fury beats all of those guys.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Spencer, thank you very much for your time today, mate. I really do appreciate it.
Now, man, big up yourself.